Hey, what is up guys, it is Slickmoff here, and I'm back again with another video. In this one, as you can see in this tweet right here, I asked for your guys' thoughts on the Spider-Man PS4 gameplay trailer, which just dropped over E3 2017's PlayStation conference. I want to look down and see what you guys think about the gameplay. The response has not been as positive as I would have thought, or certainly hoped. So I want to get down into that and look at what you guys are thinking right now after seeing the gameplay for the game. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Again, this is going to be all my subscribers. We'll maybe get into the hashtag if we have time at the end and I blow through these. So my good buddy Dustin says this: just a big cutscene. Looks like The Amazing Spider-Man and should have more gameplay and less holding one button down stuff. So basically he's saying less QTEs and less Amazing Spider-Man, which is also something that I noticed in the gameplay as well. It definitely, not so much in the stealth, but I felt in the combat parts, it was definitely, you know, pulling some Amazing Spider-Man vibes. And part of me thinks, you know, what else can you really innovate in Spider-Man gameplay? Like, you know, you flip and you punch and that sort of thing. But really, it was almost like the animations were pulled directly from that game, which I thought was very weird. So also my buddy Brian here says, I am over the moon right now. The wait was so worth it. It's literally everything they said it would be and 10 times more. Movement was crazy fluid. And that is something I definitely do agree with. I thought the web slinging was really stellar. And sort of towards the end of that, when they're in the helicopter scene, I thought it was just very good. He also adds here, I didn't read this tweet just now, my only issue is the pace of the swinging, because it looked way too slow. Okay, well, that's the opposite of what I just said. And how fast he'd run on zip walls. Still epic, though. And, yeah, I mean, I can see that for sure. I thought it was faster than The Amazing Spider-Man, far and away, and I thought that it was pretty damn fluid. So I don't, you know, I've got to say, I was pretty pleased with the gameplay side of things. We see that Nameless says here, looks pretty awesome, and DJM says, Spider-Man Xbox One. Unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to be happening. I wouldn't get your hopes up for that. Cringer says, release date is too late for me personally. I thought the game would come out late 2017. I think we all were hoping that, but, you know, really, with not a early 2018 benchmark coming out on the end of the trailer, I would say summer 2018 is what you're hoping for here, which is really unfortunate, but at the same point, you know, you want the game to be polished, and that is the thing to consider as well, is that a lot of these complaints well, let's read Cosmonauts right here. Dull and uninteresting. The player didn't do much. It was like they were watching a movie. Combat was very strange and the HUD was awful. I happen to think that the HUD was okay. You know, it's nothing remarkable. It is just the HUD, you know. But in regards to watching a movie, you know, I thought that's where the gameplay was really shining, was in those cutscenes. And even though it was a little QTE heavy, I thought that the cinematic parts of it were really good. And rather than just playing a cutscene, you were actually playing through it. And that was something I thought that worked really well for the gameplay. But thank you for the comment, Cosmonaut. You know, I see what you're saying. I just don't know if I disagree or agree entirely. Lewis says, sorry, I guess it's a good thing it comes out in 2018, more time to work on it. Absolutely, that is one way to think about it. And that is the thing as well, is pretty much all of the comments that we can make that are negative about the game, almost all of them, can be fixed by the time the game comes out. I mean, it's going to be probably a year, okay? And a lot can happen in a year. That is, they're in the polishing stage right now, so that's something to consider. James says, best game at E3. No doubt about it, James. Agree 100%. Mr. Black Spider says, gameplay was overall good. Love the stealth, using the environment. The amount of detail on the costume went down. I don't know that to be true. It's possible. But I thought that the gameplay, the graphics were really stellar. I mean, 100% were just very good. The background map and everything. I don't have too much to complain about that, and overall, I would say that the gameplay was pretty strong, and the stealth was really good as well with the use of the environment, and that mine as well was pretty damn cool. James says that he was loving the web slinging and the slow motion. I have to say that the slow motion was one of the weaker parts, and that's what Cosmonaut's saying right here. Riptide says it's good so far. Steve says there is zero momentum while swinging. Not impressed after that trailer. Looks very similar to the Amazing Spider-Man movie game, just a tad more fluid. That's something I would agree with. You know, on a blanket statement, I do feel that it was very similar to the Amazing Spider-Man with just a little bit more fluidity and polish and more options for gameplay. So that's something I would probably say I agree with overall. I don't know how to say this name. Presitok Senior. Sorry, I murdered that. It's very good, and this is from the guy that has 6 random letters for his name. It's very good, and the web slinging is smooth and looks realistic. By the way, what does what does Miles do in the game, or what is he going to be doing in the game? I'm not sure. I think that he'll be probably playable. I think that that's what they were teasing there. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put him in there. Although it's possible, maybe not. But I do feel that there are going to be other Spider peoples involved. You know, perhaps Spider-Girl, perhaps Miles Morales. So we'll have to wait and see. The gameplay looks similar to the Arkham games. I'm excited to see where the story goes. You know, I think in some ways it's similar to the Arkham games in that, you know, you sort of like hit 3 times, then you get a combo. So I can see that for sure. Aiden says, the Marvel version of an Arkham game. The graphics and gameplay look amazing, and I'm glad they're including a lesser-known villain. Yeah, Mr. Negative, definitely lesser-known compared to Green Goblin, but we do know that Osborn is going to be in the game, which is going to be cool to see as well. I think it was shit. Too many QTE events. Well, Raphael, tell me how you really feel, man. Tell me how you really feel. Too many QTEs. That's a common complaint that I see in the gameplay. Slow web slinging. Cosmonaut, once again, he is fired up, and that's okay. I'm glad that he's voicing his opinion. Shit, I did not mean to do that. Slow web slinging, awful looking combat, and way too many quick time events. I am disappointed. From Cosmonaut. Okay, let's keep going here. We're actually pretty far down, so this is good. Josh says, it was good, but I would have liked to know if it releases early, mid, or late 2018, and I totally agree with that. I think mid or late 2018, as I've explained in the past. Robert says, overall, it was a very strong showing. My only concern was that it got QTE heavy towards the end. And really, Robert, for me, it was less about the QTE and more about the slow-mo. I thought the slow-mo was definitely overkill in the gameplay, particularly not towards the end, but in the combat segments. I thought that there was just slow-mo after every button that you hit, and it was perhaps a little overkill compared to the Arkham games, for instance. I don't mean to always complain, you know, compared to the Arkham games, but you guys know them well if you're subscribed to this channel, where, you know, at the end of a combat scene, you get a good slow-motion look, but otherwise there isn't too much slow-motion, generally speaking, in the combat. Mostly it's just very fluid, and it's trying to emphasize speed and pace, whereas this is certainly not. It's trying to slow it down, and it takes a good bit to take down each foe. Finally, we have Alex. What the heck does this have to be as PS4 exclusive? Not about the game. But this isn't a game that should be held for from half of the gaming community. And I totally agree with that. Unfortunately, you know, business is business, as they say, and that's really unfortunate. But I wish it weren't that way, and I hope that as many of you guys can get your hands on the game as possible by any means necessary. I'm not implying like anything illegal or anything. I just mean, you know, if you gotta get a PS4 or borrow one or buy a refurbished one for cheap or whatever, you know, I hope that you guys can get to play it because it does look amazing and it looks very cinematic and epic. But again, I do have those concerns about the gameplay. I think that they can definitely be addressed, and you know, if we can be respectful about our criticism, I think that maybe they can take a look at some of those things with that. But overall, I thought the game looked very phenomenal. I cannot wait to see it in 2018 and get my hands on it. And hopefully it's just not delayed. Please no 2019. Just please, God, no. I can't wait that long for this game. I want to get my hands on it. It looks great, and I cannot wait to see what they have in store for the story as well. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and if you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Tell me how you really feel about Spider-Man PS4. You guys were honest on Twitter. I want to see the YouTube commenters honest. Of course, in a respectful way. I'm not saying that. Or you don't have to be. It's a free country. You know, do you. I like reading those funny, angry comments, too. Those can be fun sometimes. And I'll be reading and responding to as many of those as I can get to. So, hope you guys have enjoyed. Once again, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.